say so, and I'm back with another video before we get to it. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Check out the Twitch box, follow my channel. I'm saying like button because we are on the road to 100K. The more if you like button, the faster we can get there. That's all being said. QC snitching? What? Bruh, it's becoming way too common for people to be doing this, bruh. But hey, like they say, don't do the crime if you can't do the time. Let's get to it.
Man, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of EOS. It's 1090 Jake, and I'm rocking with y'all, and y'all rocking with me. And for this video, we're going to be speaking on P from the QC music label, the CEO of the music label,
CEO.
snitching on a man and getting him a 20-year prison sentence. May 27th, 2010. It was 8:45 p.m. when an off-duty officer working at the Lenox Mall in Atlanta advised over the radio he was with a man who stated a black man named Keon was leaving the mall in a brown tinted 4-door and that Keon was wanted for murder. 2 additional officers responded to the area, locating a brown Oldsmobile matching the description given. The vehicle was pulled over with 2 men and a woman inside, with the front passenger being identified as Interior's Keon McClinton, who officers confirmed had a murder warrant out of Fulton County. An investigator arrived at the mall where the call originated and met with Pierre Thomas, who's more commonly known as P, the CEO of Quality Control Music. P stated to the investigator he was at the mall when he recognized the man he knew as Keon. P told the investigator Keon was the same man who previously shot him and killed his friend, which led to the warrant for murder. P would continue by telling the investigator he confronted Keon, even chasing him to his vehicle where Keon grabbed a handgun. That's when P would run for the mall as Keon chased behind him saying, "I'm gonna kill you." P would state he was in fear for his life, hid in the mall, and came back out to see Keon was leaving the area. P would also provide a written statement. According to the written statement, Pierre listed himself as a victim or witness and wrote, "I confronted him about murder and chased him to the car. He got a pistol and chased me in the mall, threatening to kill me." The officer would write, "How do you know the subject?" And P would answer, "He shot me and killed my friend." The officer then asked, "What type of gun was it?" And P answered, "A black handgun." On a second piece of paper, the officer would ask, "Did he make any comments?" And P would write, "I'm gonna kill you." The officer then wrote, "Did you fear for your life?" And P answered, "Yes." Pierre Thomas would sign both pieces of paper along with the witnessing officer who received the statement. Keon would be read his Miranda rights before saying he was at the mall when a man with a red hat approached him, repeatedly asking if he knew him and saying he knew who he was. Keon said the man's friends began to surround him when he took off running to the car. Reaching the car, he pointed his finger at the man with the hat, who was now leaving the scene. Keon denied having a firearm or pointing one at anyone. The vehicle would be impounded and no weapon would be recovered, but Keon would be charged with aggravated assault anyways and taken to jail to also face the murder warrant. 8 days later, Keon would be indicted on charges of aggravated assault and possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony for allegedly pointing a handgun and threatening Pierre Thomas. Within the witness list, P would be the only civilian listed, and his statement would be the only evidence against Keon. Incarcerated for roughly 3 months, Keon would be indicted on 7 new charges. The state would allege that on December 8th, 2009, Pierre Thomas, or P, went over to an apartment complex belonging to Karan Dennis. P had intended on playing Xbox and betting on a basketball game within the apartment that was said to be a marijuana trap house. While at the apartment, a man that evidence later identified as Keon arrived looking for the apartment owner Karan, who was outside walking the dog. P told Keon to come back a little later. Karan would make his way back to the apartment.
See, this is why I rock with 1090 Jake. A lot of people be mad, that he do his videos about, because he's white, talking about street dudes, but they fail to realize this is a street white dude right here, bro. And you gotta give him his credit because bro actually goes and do real like real searches. He's getting real paperwork. He's paying for background things and everything. So therefore, how could you be mad? If it was somebody else, it'd be like, yeah, that's crazy. Like I can't believe it. Like it came out to be the fact that whatever happened. Well, because it's him, it's a problem, bruh. This is paperwork. You seen his name 3 or 4, 5 times already, bruh. What else needs to be said?
Not long after, Keon would arrive looking to buy marijuana. When Karan went to get it, Keon was said to have opened fire, shooting Karan multiple times before firing at P. P would run for the sliding glass door, making his way 2 apartments over, where he told the tenant he'd been shot and to call the police. Karan would die from his injuries, and investigators would determine it to be a murder-robbery. Through the course of the investigation, police interviewed P, the surviving victim. P provided them with a description stating the suspect was approximately 6 feet tall, 200 pounds with a mohawk, and a possible tattoo on his face. Time would go by since the day of the shooting, and P would occasionally relay information to the police about stuff that he had heard on the street, identifying Keon, a suspect, or who he heard might have been responsible for killing his friend. He provided some info to the police, and they were able to put a person into a photo lineup, but P did not make an identification. A few more months went by, and P provided information to the police that he had heard that the suspect goes by the name Stunner, and he'd previously been shot in a club. Looking into the nickname, police were able to identify Keon as having used that nickname and having been a shooting victim. 5 months had now passed since P had been shot, and with a new photo lineup presented, P was able to positively identify Keon, or Stunner, as the man who shot him and killed his friend. Police believed it was apparent P had seen a photograph of Stunner prior to viewing the lineup. Because of the positive identification, the warrant for murder went out, and 3 weeks after, P would confront Stunner in the mall before running for his life. Stunner would write a letter to the judge and call out P for his lies that led to his incarceration. He'd introduce himself and say, "I have been incarcerated for approximately 6 months under false pretenses." The accusee, Mr. Pierre Thomas, has made false accusations such as claiming that I shot at him and supposedly killed his friend. Fearing that I would retaliate and seek vengeance for him shooting me 4 times on April 30th of 2010, Pierre Thomas went down to the police department and took a warrant out on me. So in a surprising turn of events, Stunner was now claiming P previously shot him, or knows who shot him. And because P thought Stunner was going to retaliate, P went to the police and snitched on Stunner. March 16th, 2012. Stunner would be re-indicted, now facing a total of 10 charges, including murder, 2 felony murders, and 2 aggravated assaults. All charges would stem from the 2 incidents involving P, the initial shooting at the apartment, and the mall confrontation. 4 days later, Stunner would be ready to face sentencing. According to the guilty plea transcripts, a then 30-year-old Stunner stood in front of a judge as she explained he was charged with 10 counts, but the state had agreed to dismiss 6 of them. He pled guilty to aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, aggravated assault, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. The state would go over the 2 cases and 2 witnesses, Karan Dennis and Pierre Thomas. The judge would receive the details of the shooting, the cooperation of Pierre Thomas, and how Stunner was able to be identified solely by Pierre Thomas's voluntary cooperation by steadily supplying investigators with tips as the months progressed. Pierre would confront Stunner in a mall before running for his life and immediately sought the police as he told them of the murder warrant he helped secure against Stunner. This arrest would place new charges on Stunner, where yet again, Pierre Thomas was the only witness, and his statement was the main piece of evidence linking Stunner to any crime. Pierre would be notified by the prosecutors of the negotiations that had been agreed to, and Stunner would be sentenced to 20 years in state prison, with 10 to serve, and the remainder to be served on probation. Only a year after Stunner's sentencing, Pierre Thomas, who we all now know as P, would co-found Quality Control Music, becoming the CEO of one of Atlanta's rising music labels. With a superstar roster like the Migos, Lil Yachty, Lil Baby, and many more, P's power, wealth, and fame would also be on the rise, with only those close to the city knowing what took place before his career took off. Given credit for the 2 years spent in jail, it wouldn't be until May of 2019 when Stunner was approved for parole. Stunner's oldest child was 9 years old when he went away, and 10 years later, the two had plenty to catch up on. But unfortunately, their time together would be cut short.
Shortly after 8 o'clock this morning, officers respond to a person shot. When they arrived, they located one black male in his late 30s, deceased from several gunshot wounds. They were able to locate certain items of evidence, including some shell casings. Right now, we're canvassing the neighborhood, trying to find any witnesses or any video footage of what happened. We've been speaking with some neighbors who did call 911 after reporting hearing gunshots. At this time, we're still trying to determine a motive or who the suspects are, but at this time we do believe that it was a targeted shooting based on witness accounts.
Stunner was pronounced dead after being shot multiple times, and what police determined was a targeted shooting. The last court document in this case would be a petition to terminate probation, with the reason being his death certificate. Stunner only lasted 7 months in the free world. And with the details of this case being publicly available for over a decade, it's hard to imagine why now in 2023, it's making its way around the internet as if nobody knew. And after this video, there will be little to no room for debate, as we all can now see P snitched on Stunner.
Man, the paperwork.
Now this paperwork, it's clear cut. In two different ways. The paperwork that hit the internet was fuzzy, looked a little funny. The paperwork I got is clear as day. This is 4K paperwork. But it's clear cut in the sense that it's publicly available, anybody can get it, and he clearly fucking told. He cooperated in the mall saying, oh, this man's over here and he got a warrant for murder. But not only that, he cooperated and helped secure the warrant for the murder. Now you could say the initial description he gave was throwed, and it was. That was the reason the murder was dropped, was because of the initial description. But at the end of the day, it also states that P stayed in contact with investigators, letting them know whatever he heard on the street. So P was tapping into the streets, hearing this, that, and the third, and then relaying that same information to the homicide investigators. Aside from a grainy picture that the surveillance cameras at the mall got of Stunner with something in his hand that might have resembled a gun, P was the only evidence of the aggravated assault at the mall and of the murder and attempted murder. It's clear cut.
That's crazy, bro.
P from QC snitched. And I talked to somebody, they said, oh, this is about to break the internet. I don't think it will. Nah. For two reasons. For one,
people doing it now.
It seems like everybody in Atlanta already knew this, whether they're speaking out about it or not. For two, the question will be, was he in the streets? So we're just going to have to wait and see how everything plays out. But as far as the paperwork goes, it don't look good. It never will look good, and he definitely told. But let me know y'all thoughts and comments in the comments section.
Yeah, that's crazy, because the reason why it ain't gonna break the internet is because it's too many rappers, too many famous people, too many people in general snitching. So therefore, it's like snitching don't hit the same as it used to. Back then, you already know. Somebody get caught off of snitching, if you really did that, you finna disappear. Then you not finna see them no more. Nowadays, they still go on about their day. Still posting up, still doing business, still doing this, still doing that. Like ain't nothing happened. So, it's crazy. It makes you like, comment, subscribe, catch the next video.